Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Everyone checking in on the sector. So we got all the red flags yesterday as far as the weakest close in Canadian MJ that we've seen since the 2-week bounce started. And we knew that the bounce was giving us a weekly lower high. And the bears followed through in true form with a gap down open and another close at the low of the day on a day when the S&P 500 yet again hit an all-time high. So the bears are still in the driver's seat of this downtrend. As long as we're in weekly lower high, lower low patterns, that's going to be the case. Could we see CGC hold the low of 1789 and then turn around and break 2248 to change the weekly trend? Yes, it's a possibility, but as we've seen every single weekly bounce in the last 6 months, 5 months, that has not been the case. The trend is your friend. Yes, it's prolonged. Yes, it's brutal. That's what happens after hype cycles. We enter a period of despair. It's the exact opposite. It happened in the cryptocurrency space. Go talk to anybody that traded the cryptocurrency space from 2017 to 2019, and they'll look at this chart and say, oh yeah, 6-month pullback? That's nothing. So this happens, and it's still happening. And we'll be watching closely for signs of when that changes, but at this point, we're not seeing those signs. So we closed at the low of the day. Our support level from here is down at 1961. The hourly time frame didn't really bounce. We cooled off the RSI a little bit. If we were to start tomorrow really weak, that hourly RSI is going to quickly be in the low 20s, and we'll be watching for an hourly oversold bounce to take place in the sector. So CGC, low of today, will be support first thing. Could see another gap down open tomorrow. Again, it's really easy for the bears. And if you look back 2 weeks ago, I was talking back here about the bears getting greedy and how we were keeping an eye out for the other direction. Now we set our weekly lower high. But what I was saying on this way up is this move is not the bulls proving anything to us. It's more just the absence of bears. And now, the first 2 days of this week, the bears are showing themselves again. They stopped and let the price bounce. The bears ran out of momentum, and now they're trying to seize it back again. And we would have to see a strong turnaround in order to see this momentum shift. Again, bull cross of CGC daily 12 and 26 period. When's the last time that happened? That happened back before we topped out at 52. Has it happened since then? No. APHA, also on watch for a bounce. Declining bear volume. Daily high or low. I would say anything above 452 is a daily high or low. Hourly RSI is down under 30. If we start tomorrow with weakness, break $5 psychological support, we're going to be looking at a hourly oversold bounce setup. I played an APHA oversold bounce today, this morning, based on the 5 and 15 minute RSI. I entered at 508. I exited at 515 or so. It was just a little half day maker. And knowing that I was trading against the trend and it was the short-term time frames that led to my entry, I exited as soon as those short-term RSI levels cooled off, which they did right away on that bounce. So it was just a very quick trade for me, and just bang, bang, boom, 1.5%, and back to cash to patiently wait for bulls to prove something. So hourly oversold bounce watch. APHA will probably have my attention, and VFF tomorrow. We'll get to VFF in a second. ACB, daily trend change with no follow through. We're now looking back down at 350 support, and the weekly bear flag is absolutely the most likely scenario unless the bulls can turn around and hold 340 and break 394 to pull off a miracle, essentially. It's possible, but the odds do not favor it. Cron, right back down towards its daily support. 806 is a must-hold level. What's the hourly RSI? It's oversold as well. Potential bottom fishing playoff of 806 tomorrow. If we were to pull back 3.5%, that hourly RSI would be in the low 20s. I would be using $8 as a support level and not 806 personally. Keep in mind that all these hourly oversold bounces, we will just be looking for a lower high to form. TLRY support approaching is 2103. Hourly RSI, not oversold yet. Hexo, bearish reaction to earnings. We broke support and we bounced. Anything on the daily under 286 is just a lower high. Bears have complete control as long as we keep putting in daily lower highs every bounce attempt. New support is 208 and 2 psychological. Have we changed the hourly trend? No. It was just a bounce straight from the morning. We'll have to change the hourly trend for any kind of follow through to even be looking for a daily lower high to form. OGI, top of the bounce on the weekly. Bear break of support, though no follow through just yet. We ran out of time, and actually it's a double bottom at this point. Has not broken yet, but if we break 339, we have a daily trend change with no follow through, straight into a bear break. And that would be our weekly lower high being set. And that would have us looking down back to the recent low of 271. So again, it's possible to hold 271 after another week of consolidation, turn around and break 401 to change this weekly trend. Is just not the most likely scenario because every weekly bounce attempt in the last 5 months has resulted in lower lows. We'll be keeping an eye on volume, increasing bear volume on the previous bear flags. And if we don't see increasing bear volume, we can take that as a little clue, potentially. So VFF, the triple top at 881, providing really nice returns for the bears. We're now going to be scouting for a bounce. Hourly RSI is down at 30, just above it. If we start tomorrow week and break 777, I will be looking for an hourly oversold bounce to be the indication of a daily higher low forming. So I'll begin scaling in on VFF and or APHA depending on how the morning starts. Labs is still pulling back. Little uptick in bear volume is not a good sign. It's no longer a bull flag in my opinion, but we are still looking for a higher low compared to 413. And the bulls have a lot of space to work with. Is the hourly RSI getting oversold? Not close. And anything on the hourly time frame under 489 is just an hourly lower high. Cureleaf. You look at that daily candlestick and you say, wow, the bulls were really strong and bought that dip. Yes, but in my opinion, it's painting the candle. That's what I refer to it as. What does that mean? That means you wait till the end of the day and then you pour on bull volume in an illiquid name and ensure an extremely strong close after a very weak day. So you look at the day all the way up until 2 p.m. and it was complete and utter bear control. And that changed. And this takes about $3 million at the end of the day to do that of total volume. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's plunge protection team, where it's an institution that already has a large position. Think about the difference. You can either not do anything and the price closes down at 650, let's say 660. Where's our next support? Next support level is down at 639 and then $6. You're in an area with a lack of support. The bears are close to taking over, or you spend some money to protect your already established position and add to it and see a big bullish reversal candlestick trying to save the day from another leg down. So we'll need an hourly trend change for this to mean anything. Generally, we've seen this happen many times, and in general, we don't get follow through into the following day. So we would have to see the bulls then turn around and hold 645 and then break the top of that move to change the hourly trend. From there, we would just be looking at key daily resistance at 740. So the bulls will take it, absolutely. Just be aware that it is an end of the day paint of the candle. C-Web, no follow through. Daily trend change did not take place. We formed a lower high compared to 1958, and we're looking right back down at 1670. They're still in control of C-Web. Keep in mind that Cureleaf, as the sector leader, is dropping down to lower lows, the lowest price seen in consolidation of 2019, which does not bode well for the sector as a whole. And the sector of USMJ today had a ton of names on my screen, all down 5 to 8%. It was a pretty brutal day. There was some dip buying at the end of the day. IAN dip buying stood out, Cureleaf stood out, and even TRUL had some decent dip buying. But again, bulls have a lot of proving to do in this space right now. I personally was beginning to scale into Cureleaf, and I missed my first fill by 2 pennies on the US ticker, and I was entering because the 4-hour RSI was down at 20, the hourly and the 15-minute RSI were all down at 20, so I would be very comfortable with that being my initial entry, with the intention of adding a second position tomorrow if weakness continued, but that bounce started 2 pennies too soon. So TRUL, I exited my swing position, I entered back here, and I exited before the break of support. Why did I exit before the break of support? because I'm adjusting my trading style to match the current conditions. If this were Tesla or Apple or Netflix, I would put my stop and keep it just below that level because it's liquid. TRUL is not liquid, and everybody's watching that daily high or low. So what I did was I sold. I waited for the initial bounce. I saw a very weak bounce. I sold right around here. Why did I sell before support breaks? Because I know that if support breaks, we're going to trigger stop losses on an illiquid name, and we're going to drop multiple percent very quickly. And the last thing I want to be doing is competing with others to try and race to the exit on a race to the bottom, selling into the bid. So I sold at 12.90 something. Again, I'm trading the US ticker, but sold when the price was here, as opposed to trying to sell when all these other triggers went off. Could we have held support and it would have been a mistake? Yes, that's a possibility. But again, me being in a more cautious trading mindset, I will gladly exit, lock in some short-term profit, and skip stop-loss waterfalls. We did bounce. They put out news in the afternoon, opening another dispensary, but it's just an hourly lower high. 1320 is resistance. We have to come down and hold 1251 and break 1320 to change the hourly trend for this bounce to be meaningful. If we change the hourly trend tomorrow, that'll be a daily lower high and lower low with no follow through, which means potential weekly bull flag. So that could be a good sign, but we have to change the hourly trend tomorrow for the bulls. IAN stood out again. So again, dip buying into the end of the day, V-shaped recovery. We will have to change the hourly trend here as well with a higher low and higher high, but we are looking right back up at the top of 245, and the bulls are defending this bounce. And a close at the high of the day, 4 out of the last 5 days, stands out in the sector. So nice defense by the bulls, not giving back the bounce just yet when most other names are. GTII. Bear break, look at that follow through. Look at all those stops triggering, look at that volume. Right back down to the 2019 low of 1048 and 1041. Held the initial attempt, but the hourly bounce just looking for a lower high. MedMen dumping on earnings, looking right back down at the all-time low of 131. Hexo and MedMen earnings definitely putting a bearish damper on the sectors as a whole. And on any bounce on MedMen, we'll just be looking for hourly lower highs. Bears have complete control. We'll see if we can hold the all-time low. OH, almost got interested in OH today. What turned me off from it was the 5-minute candlestick to start the day, which was just a very odd candlestick. And didn't really see a position that I liked after that. So we did get a little bit of a bounce going. The hourly time frame, not a clear trend change yet. We have our low. High of the bounce is 478. And the bulls will have to hold 432 and break 478 to change the hourly trend. Hourly exponential resistance. Rejection, 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 rejection. Have to get over the hourly 12-period exponential moving average. CL. So CL is holding on, but we have to break 889 to change the daily trend. The bulls are at least giving themselves an opportunity to do so by holding on. And of course, we will be looking for OH to bounce and follow through if CL does get this bull break. Even though the discount rate has skyrocketed, there is still the potential of that deal on the table. And we will see that discount level continue to fluctuate. And best case scenario for oversold bounce plays on OH would be for CL to see strength and for the discount to evaporate a bit. At the same time, that's when the OH moves will be their best. Special shout out to KSHB. Very quietly, 6 days now, we've gone over 50%. No notable volume, no nothing, but bulls moving, breaking previous bounce top high of 183. We don't have a daily trend change. We will still need a clear higher low and higher high to change that daily trend. And we are just looking for a weekly lower high to form on this bounce. But from daily and weekly oversold conditions, a very nice 50% bounce. So that's where we stand in the sector as a whole. Hourly oversold bounce watches for Canadian MJ tomorrow. Ideally, I want to start weak first thing, get a nice little flush down. Then we'll look for the bounce just to set hourly lower highs. USMJ, still in trouble. Still bulls have a lot of proving to do. We'll see if we get any follow through from some of the dip buying we saw today. FOMC is tomorrow. Going to see the market react at 2 p.m. Eastern. And other than that, patiently waiting for the sector to turn things around. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, we felt like it was over for now, but we knew it wasn't. All we had to do was zoom out and know that the bears are going to come back again once the weekly lower highs get set. We can either be complaining, we can be cash and patiently waiting for opportunity, or we can be profiting as bears. Those are the three things that we can do. Or we can stop trading or investing in the sector. That's the fourth thing that we can do. But choose which one of those four things you think would be most productive. For me, I'm choosing the all cash route, not really doing many bearish trades in the sector, as I am limited with my instruments to trade the sector bearish, but patiently waiting and just completely giving myself in to the trend and just realizing that until that trend changes, there is no reason to get bullish in this sector. So we will be patiently watching and waiting for it. But until it happens, can we see another leg down? You know the answer. Yes, we can. And we might as well pull up the Bitcoin chart. Yes, this is completely different because Bitcoin doesn't have assets, blah, 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 blah. But all I care about is emotional cycles. That's what I trade. And Bitcoin pulled back for a year from its crazy euphoria. So this is the pullback that the Bitcoin bulls had to sit through. 80-some% and a year. More than a year. So it's been 6 months. Could it end up being more than that? Absolutely. Emotional cycles. Hype cycles end with despair. You've seen the chart. I don't have it in front of me, but hype, euphoria, greed, blah, blah, blah. And then we go down and fear, despair. And we are at some point on that downward end of that cycle, but not at a bottom just yet, not confidently. So I appreciate you watching. We'll continue to cover. Yes, I'm bearish because the trend's bearish. I will be bullish when the trends change. See you then. I don't have a video to end with today. Got a story. So there was a bunny. The first time I saw a bunny on the property, and I just had gotten corn on the cob for deer and turkeys, which the turkeys all passed it up, but threw it to it and almost hit it by accident. And this bunny did not move at all. My friend commented how it was not skittish. And unfortunately, Darwin saw the end of that bunny in the form of a big hawk the next day. So that clearly notable lack of a skittish gene ended up getting it caught. And so the hawk, a big hawk, was eating that most of the day. And then the turkeys all came out at night. And there were maybe a dozen of them walking in the front yard. And the hawk was defending its prey. And one turkey chased the hawk off. He charged it. And then 60 seconds later, the hawk came bombing out of the air and dove at the turkey and nicked it. And the hawk could never take down that turkey. But he was just giving a big FU back to the turkey. And then the gang of 12 turkeys all got riled up and were ready to throw down against this hawk. Obviously, the hawk was long gone up in a tree by then at that point. But it was just a funny interaction to see those birds interacting with each other. Makes sense that the turkey would scare off the hawk. Makes sense that the hawk wouldn't really be scared of a turkey and would defend its prey. And other than that, the leaves are changing. And we'll do a leaf changing video for tomorrow. Got a couple traders, chart guys, members coming to stay at the house for a week. Starting to experiment with the work trade mentoring. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it yet. Don't have any curriculum outlined or anything like that, but we're going to trade together and live together for a week and do some work together out in the yard, and we'll see how it goes. I would definitely like to do something like that in the future as well. Have 5 or so people come out, stay for a week at a time, do some farming stuff, do some trading stuff. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully these two don't screw it up, and we'll see you tomorrow.